Yes, people. It's Jacob on the one up top, reporting live from the streets of Wolverhampton. Because it's a big game, I thought I'd do it a little bit differently today. Normally I just do a before, middle and after, but I thought I'd do a preview because I've had this game on the back of my mind for not just for the coming week, but for a little while, because for obvious reasons, the manager, the rivalry and all that. Before you do anything, guys, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all of that. I'm trying to keep up with this stuff, but it is, life takes over a lot. But before the lineups, which should be in about 20 minutes or something, I think. I'm trying to get back for that. I just want to talk about a few things. It's a big game. Tottenham Chelsea is always a big game. Growing up, it was big, but not like it is now. I just think, we hate each other more than anything now. And, you've had Chelsea fans saying that they hate us more than Arsenal, which is mad. But, I just want to talk about the football in its entirety. I'm not a hooligan or anything like that. I've been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of analysing over the course of the week. And a lot of people are saying that this game's going to be an absolute whitewash, and I can kind of semi-understand that, because Chelsea just lost at home to Brentford. They haven't been convincing for the whole of the year. I think they've won, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they've won one home game for the whole of the calendar year or something like that. So, if you took the name of the club out of the conversation and said, would any team beat a team that's only won one game at home, you'd probably go, yes. But I think this is a little bit different, I think Chelsea, when they've played games that they're expected to win, that's when, I don't know, they're a little bit sluggish, It gets to the point where they're doing everything right, but they just haven't got that cutting edge, They've got players that are probably getting 6 and 7s out of 10s, especially in attacking moments, but they ain't really got a striker, If they went and stuck a striker in their team that bangs goals, then we'll probably be talking about a different thing. Chelsea will probably be up sort of 6 or 7 places just because they got someone that can stick it in the net. Whereas you look right now, I think their top goal scorer is Sterling on 3 goals, and everyone's talking about him being on a goal drought, but he's their top goal scorer in the Premier League anyway. I'm not sure in all competitions. So I think this is one of the, I've been at work all day, and normally I'd be gassing up and jumping around, but I'm not that confident about this. And it's one of them ones, Tottenham keep proving me wrong, because I wasn't too confident about a win at Selhurst Park the other day. I mean, got it. Granted it wasn't convincing, but we got it. And I said to myself that Tottenham are the sort of club that when you got the opportunity to say to everyone, look, we're here, come get us, we don't do it. And we did it at Selhurst. But now, we've been thrown a different lifeline. You've got lifeline, sorry. You've got Man City that obviously won. You've got Liverpool that dropped points. Arsenal dropped points. United have already been off the tail as it is. Brighton, even Aston Villa dropped points. So this is an opportunity for Tottenham to say, right, game by game, we're in it to stay. But I just don't think it's that straightforward, if I'm honest. It's not me being a Tottenham negative. It's more me being a football realist, If we look at Chelsea, for instance, if they put up a lineup of players, they on paper, they've got a team that can play well. I don't know if it's the confidence or Pochettino, whether I'm trying to get used to the manager and all that stuff. But for me, if they go and put a midfield three of, say, Salcedo, Conor Gallagher, I'm trying to think who else we're playing. Enzo Fernandez, I'm not sure if he's injured or not. Them 3 in the middle, if you gave those 3 on form to Jurgen Klopp, that's a Jurgen Klopp midfield on paper. Obviously they haven't been shown what they're doing, but it's workmanlike. It's going to be very difficult to get through. If you're a James Maddison and them 3 are on point, how do you get through? It's mad, because Salcedo's arguably the most sought after defensive midfielder in the whole Premier League at Brighton. Enzo Fernandez smashed the World Cup. Conor Gallagher's a player I rate as well. So if you have them 3 stifling us, and then you've got, say, Sterling, I don't know, they'll probably have like Sterling on the left, Palmer on the right, Jackson through the middle. If they decide to go full number 9, then you might have a Mudryk in there or something. But, you know, I know the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium very well. You know, it gets to the point where if everybody in the stadium feels we're going to whip Chelsea, we ain't scored in the first half hour, and Chelsea turn out like it did against Arsenal or at Liverpool at the beginning of the season, it becomes a sticky one. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've had sticky ones against, even though we're doing well, we've had sticky ones against Sheffield United. You know, we got lucky against Liverpool, and we have played well. But we have had our moments, and you know, you're looking at VAR results over the whole of this weekend. You could be as confident as you want, mate. Like, when you got the officials doing the stupidness that they're doing and ruining the British game, you could be as confident as you want. They could end up sending off someone that shouldn't have been sent off. They could end up red carding someone, you know, the wrong person. It could all go off. So it's like, you're not only fighting against Chelsea or Chelsea fighting against Tottenham, you're also fighting against the officials in this day and age. So anything could happen. It's not really written, but it's one of those where until I see the lineups, you know, I pray that Adoji's fit. You know, I like Emerson Royal going backwards in some respects because he's somebody that just ruffles feathers. You know, you get the crowd going. He's not the best quality, I get that, but sometimes you need someone in the squad that's just a little prick, if I'm honest. He's somebody that if he played for the opposition, I couldn't stand him, but he plays for us and I like him. He's a little bit like Lamela. I couldn't, you know, Lamela wasn't great on the ball, but he used to wind everybody up, especially in the North London derby. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. The lineups are due out in 14 minutes now, so I'm hoping that we've got our full strength, and we'll see how it goes. Yes, people. Still not home yet. I just remembered I forgot something at the shop. So, but yeah, we're still going to carry on before I get home. Lineups are out. I want to go to the host first, which is Tottenham Hotspur, obviously. Thankfully, we're back to full strength, you know. If you know, we're back to full strength with Adoji left back, Pedro Porro right back, Romero and Van der Ven, Bissouma and Sarr as always, Kulusevski, Maddison, Son, and thankfully Brennan Johnson. I've been calling for that for a long time, even though he's been injured. But Richarlison, you know, I do feel sorry for him because it's not nice being in a place like that. But sometimes needs must, you know. And I think for Richarlison, if he is ever going to improve, he's coming off the bench and having sort of 60, 70 minutes to sit on the bench and ponder what he's going to do, rather than starting and not doing anything and, you know, pretty much understanding he's going to come off at some point in the game. But yeah, that's the Tottenham side with Son up front, obviously. Chelsea have gone, they pretty much will. In terms of midfield and attack, they went with what I went in the first place. So I said Caicedo, Fernandes, Gallagher in central midfield, Sterling, Palmer and Jackson, which I feel that is their strongest unit. And like I've said, this is a London derby, man. Like, for Chelsea, it can't get no worse. Do you know what I mean? If they lose this, people start taking the piss saying a relegation scrap, which is what happened before. And then they've got some big games coming up. I think I heard on the radio earlier that they've got, I think they've got Man City at home next. Then it's like Newcastle away, and it's someone like Brighton after that. So if you're a Chelsea player, you know, Pochettino might not be saying it, but you know full well what you've got coming up, you know. I'm not sitting there saying I played any type of level of football like that, but I played for football teams that are playing crap and you're in a relegation scrap, and I've played for teams that are trying to win a league. You're always looking to see who you've got in the next 3 games, so there's no reason why they won't be doing it, and they'll be looking at this to either lift them up or bring them down, because, you know, if you're Chelsea, as a fan, as a player of any part of that establishment, you lose this game and lose this game emphatically, it becomes a massive problem, because, you know, Man City at home is, even though you're at home, Chelsea are not picking up points at home, so there's always a harder game anyway because it's Man City. But you lose that, and you lose this one, it's an absolute problem. And they need to start picking up points because they had a relatively easy start and they're 13th. So, this is the reason why I don't feel that confident, because I look at it, and I always do this in football. I've seen top sides, I've seen Tottenham do it, I've seen Arsenal do it, I've seen Chelsea, Man United. I'll give you an example. When Man United played Fulham this weekend, they just lost 3-0 twice on the bounce. Everybody would have thought, yeah, Fulham would do that. Fulham were a decent side. But you just know that they're going to go and win 1-0. Do you get what I'm saying? Or they're going to go and get a scrappy result. Everybody knew that was going to be a Ten Hag scrapyard. That's why I didn't watch it, because I knew that would happen. You knew that you weren't going to get sacked in that game. So it's like, with Chelsea, I feel that sort of energy. Pochettino being back as well, a new stadium. I'm hearing that a lot of the fans gave him, it was a good applause, which I feel that he deserves. Granted, he went to Chelsea, but it's not like he left Tottenham, to go to Chelsea. He got sacked by Tottenham, went to PSG, literally begged it at PSG and begged it while he was out of employment. Tottenham still didn't want him, and then everybody's moaning that he went to Chelsea. What's he supposed to do? Sit there and not make no peas because of the fact that he managed us for a few years? Nah, man, I'm not having that. Respect the man for what he's done, Effectively, if Tottenham are going to go and do bigger things in recent times, everybody will look at him as a stepping stone. Like, I'll give Tim Sherwood respect for him being a stepping stone, because he was the one that got the young players through, passed that mantle on to Poch. And I think if Daniel Levy had, carried on with what they were trying to do, we might have won something by then. And if we hadn't, he still would have been attractive for a long period of time. So it's one of those where I'll give him respect, credit where it's due. And, everybody that's slating him as a Spurs fan, I think to myself, like, all right, so the job that you're in now, if you've been in there for a long time and you love it, I'd love to see what you do when you get offered double a wage to go and join your rivals. So, I'm not sitting there saying you do, but I'd like to think that everybody that's watching this video, if you were working for British Gas, yeah, and you were earning 30, 40 grand a year, and then Eon come along and say, we want you to do the same thing for 80 grand, you'd jump from ship to ship straight away. Poch hasn't done that. Poch has gone from our ship, he's gone abroad, and then gone to Eon. So just allow it, innit? It's like, if he's gone and done that, don't cuss him for it. He's not done a Sol Campbell. You know what I mean? He's literally done nothing wrong. And it's like, we as Spurs fans, we're all right to have William Gallas in our team. Everyone's all right with that. But William Gallas did the same thing, but the other way around. But because he supports Tottenham and it suits us, no problem there, is there? So, I just think everyone needs to settle it down a bit. But, yeah, I'm going to get myself indoors now, settle down and watch the build-up. But if I want to go with my score predictions, it's weird because my heart and my head both tell me Desmond. They both tell me 2-2. I just don't think Chelsea are going to lose. I think if they play the way they did against Arsenal and Liverpool at the beginning of the season, I think they come out of this with a result. I generally think that they know that if they lose this, they're in some big mess. And at some point, with all the quality that they have in their repertoire, at some point, it's got to click. So for me, I'm going 2-2. I think if there's going to be a weakness in our side, it may be the fact that we don't break down the stubborn defence of Chelsea's. Thiago Silva is still, for me, a quality defender. It might be the case of he has Son in his pocket. But if we're going to expose Chelsea, I think we need to expose Thiago Silva's partner, because Diassi is quite calamitous. I thought Colwell would be in there, but he's at left back. So I think exposing Colwell out of position and Diassi in the middle, I think if we're going to win the game, that's what we need to do. So yeah, I'll see you guys at half time. Come on, you Spurs. Yo. Oh man, I need to take a deep breath, man. Right, I'm going to compose myself. It's half time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham won, Chelsea won. Mate, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know. For a start, I'm seeing a lot of Tottenham fans saying that the refs are cheating. Are you for real? Like, honestly, like, we should be down to 9 men, you know? When I saw Adoji, let's talk about that first. When he dived in, I thought to myself, oh, that looks a bit suspect. As soon as I seen the replay, I was like, that's off. Got away with it. There was an incident where Romero kicked Sterling, I think he was. I might be wrong. I'm there going red card. Got away with it. It's like, but then when we got when Caicedo scored that goal, I was praying that it was given, because I thought if it was given, we'll get away with Romero. But as soon as it was offside, I thought Romero was getting sent off. And again, this is where VAR is a mess, because as much as I love Tottenham and I love to get away with things, how is it taking referees 10 minutes to figure out what's happening? Like, I saw that 2 times and I was like, yeah, sending off. Gary Neville, two times, sending off. How is there 4 or 5 people with like 25 screens having to take so much time to figure out what me and Gary Neville come to? It's just dumb. Do you know what I mean? Like, there shouldn't even be adverts, really, because there's so much going on, you know. For me, I think there was a couple of incidents there where we was all over Chelsea, let's be real. But I feel when we were getting away with decisions, the players' mindset was like, let's get, 10 men. Got away with it. You know, I've played football before where you think someone's getting sent off, the referee's had a quiet word with them, and you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe we're not going to 10 minutes, and you just lose concentration for 10 minutes. This is what happened to the boys, because once we got away with the Adoji one, we got away with the Romero one, Chelsea just didn't even play well, but they just all over us because all our players didn't know what was going on. Like, our fullbacks were all over the place. Like, I was so thankful and happy that Adoji came back. He was all over the place. Pedro Porro was doing some mad stuff. The whole game, Raheem Sterling had him on toast. Even when we've gone to 10 men, we're like pushing them up, and it's like, it's edgeware football. But this is what Ange wants. And, Ange has always said that whatever happens with these boys, I put my sword in it. But what's happened in this first half here is, which I'll keep saying to not only people that don't support Tottenham, people that do, is that the reason why we won't win the league and why we need to be back in January is because we're always 1 or 2 injuries away. I kept saying about centre-halves. I kept saying about Maddison. Kept saying about Son. In 45 minutes, Son's the only one that ain't come off, and I'm like, I've got to go upstairs and get on my knees and pray to God, because that could easily happen in this game. Van de Ven, I've said it on videos before. People can quote me. Is that when you've got a player with that much pace, you always worry about their hamstrings. You saw Michael Owen worried about his hamstrings. There's certain players that get away with it. Ronaldo, but it's all about conditioning and all that. But you can't have seen the amount of times where we're asking Van de Ven to recover, and his pace is immaculate, but he's going to pull a hammy. You know what I mean? It's like it's like irony that we've compared this guy to Ledley King, and then he goes and does a Ledley. Do you know what I mean? But Romero, petulance. Van de Ven, it happens in football. But now we're stuck with the most, I don't even know what the word is. If someone said to you as a Spurs fan, the centre-half pairing that you wouldn't imagine, you'd probably say Eric Dyer and Williams. But it's like, we've got Emerson Royal in them. Fair play to them. The game ain't finished, but they ain't made no mistakes. They've looked relatively comfortable. They're listening to Ange. But it's not doing my ticker any good. Adoji's on the yellow cards. You're looking at it thinking, well, what do we do now? Because I can't remember if Ben Davies is on the bench, but if he's not on the bench, our cover for that is in centre-half position right now. Pedro Porro's looking shaky. Sterling's got him on toast. But it's one of those, man. It's like, if we end up getting the result out of this, it's bonkers. What we need to do, and I said this from when we played Liverpool. Liverpool came to our patch, showed us how to play against you with 10 men, and then better yet, do it with 9 men. And it didn't set the parameter just for Tottenham. I think it set the parameter for the whole league, because everybody understands that if you go down to 10 men, You lost the game. 9 men, forget about it. And realistically, Liverpool would have got a draw out of the game if it weren't for Matip scoring in his own back of the net because we weren't scoring it. So I think Pochettino will be buzzing. You know, this will be a test for the Chelsea players because the Chelsea players, if you're playing for this manager, if there's ever a game you want to win, it's for him in this one. And I think if they throw the kitchen sink at it, you know, bring a Mudryk on, you know, I'm looking at it thinking, you know, if they take out a Caicedo or they take out a Conor Gallagher and put Mudryk on and have all that pace running at us with Eric Dyer and Emerson's game over. But, you know, one thing if I want to say a positive, we did stick in there. We did nullify what they wanted for, you know, for a good 15 minutes. But I think it's only going to take its toll. You know, I think we've only got one substitution period as well. So when you're looking at the bench, is an Ollie Skip, are we going to chuck an Ollie Skip on and go like with 4 central midfielders? We're going to have to dig in and we're going to have to play on the counter. And like I said when I was watching the game, you know, when that Son goal didn't go in, I generally thought that goal needed to count because if it counted and all of this madness happened, cool. And I generally think if we'd made it 2-0 at that point, we would have won at a canter. But, you know, the goal was disallowed and rightly so. And once we got away with these 2 sending offs, the Adoji and the Romero, you could tell the players' mindset, even Postecoglou's mindset was a bit like, whoa, we got away with that. All went nuts. Even the 12th man didn't understand what was going on because I was sat there thinking, wow, we're going to get away with too much. But then, you know, Romero, you know, I hadn't even spoke about that too much. People that saying that ain't a penalty because he got the ball. If I tackled you and you saw my face like Romero, how would you feel? Because I'm telling you now, I don't care who you are. If you tackled me with that grimace on your face, with me, and I saw that and I had the opportunity to look at that, and then we meet up in the bar afterwards and you could have broke my leg, it's going off and I'll do you in. I don't care who you are. So people that are going on about that ain't a red card, just remember what happened again with Liverpool when Curtis Jones did exactly the same thing outside the box. Have a bit of balance about it. But we're going to the second half. I want to go upstairs and pray. And hopefully, God's on my side. Come on, you Spurs. Yes, people. I'm sure you can tell by my demeanour that we ain't won the game. The final result is Tottenham 1, Chelsea 4. Honestly, I don't think I've got enough time in this segment to wrap everything up. You know, mad game. You know, if you're a neutral, it's bonkers. If you hate Tottenham, you love that. You know, I 70% commend the players. Like, the players gave their all. It was, you know, it got to the point where I was thinking, hold up, are we going to get a draw or maybe win this game? You know, even when we were 2-1 down, Son puts that chance away. The crowd goes bonkers. Eric Dyer had a goal disallowed. Like, you know, Chelsea, even though they've got that win, there's no way their fans, if they're probably gassed about the result, but they can't be gassed at that performance. You know, if you're going into any other Premier League side playing the same way, you know, they shouldn't have struggled against us. Like, we were playing a high line as well. We were asking for it. And if there's anything I'm going to say is a negative or a something I'm going to say against what Ange did tonight, was that, like, I commend the bravery when we're 10 men, but 9 men, sometimes you just got to tell the defenders to drop. And you look at, it was 1-1, all 3 goals was because we pushed up. Like, we were just asking for it. And I love the bravery and all that, but not at 10 men. That's just my opinion anyway. We could have maybe done it for the first 15 minutes, but when people are running out of energy, you know, we've got key players coming off, don't keep doing it, because Chelsea had a few offsides and it was like, once they got in offside, twice, 3, 4, I'm like, right, we've got to stop this, but we kept going, and that's how they scored their 3 goals. So, you know, granted, I'm not going to blame Ange too much, but when we're in that predicament, you know, I think he's the only manager in this league that would have done that. But it's not his fault. You know, it's some of these like some of the things that happened in that first 60 minutes, yeah, it's what I've been saying is going to unravel our whole season. But unfortunately for us, it happened in the space of an hour. You know, Romero, you knew he weren't going to behave himself in the whole season. You knew Maddison at some point was going to have an injury. Van der Ven, with the athleticism, always comes injuries and hamstrings. You know, it looks like he's torn it. Adoji, I don't know whether I don't know whether he was fit or not ready. He just from the pump, he just didn't look the same, and I did worry about him playing, even though I was gassed that he was going to start. You know, Pedro Porro, I love his heart, but sometimes he's a bit erratic. But it was all undone by idiots. You know, people talking about Adoji shouldn't have got sent off in the first place. Well, he got his karma because he got sent off anyway. You know, he's young and he should learn from that, but he should have got sent off in the first place. We should have been down to 9 men a lot earlier. Shout out Vicario, you know, keeper of the season, if I'm honest, in the whole of the Premier League. But the people that I want to give the shout out to is probably our substitutions. You know, all Spurs fans would have been fearing the worst when Eric Dyer comes on and Emerson Royal come on. I don't think any of them were at fault for the goals that we conceded. The only reason that they were at fault is because they were instructed to push up. And I commend Ange for saying that, you know, if they play like that and we concede those goals, put it on me. So that's what I'm putting on the manager. But the manager shouldn't have been in that position in the first place, you know. Romero, for him to be our vice captain and realistically deserved to be sent off before he got sent off, he's a liability. You know, we all thought that he's turned the corner, and, you know, I was one of them that kind of semi-thought it, but he's an Argentinian. He reminds me of Roberto Ayala back in the day. You're like, absolutely terrific defender. However, you just knew he'd get sent off. It's the same with Otamendi, Gabriel Heinze. It's the way they play their football. You know, look at Lamela. He's an attacker and he used to do things like this. And it's not like Tottenham as a team have got to learn from this. I just think that if we're going to push forward and do things this season, players like that, we probably need to have ready replacements for a long period of time, because these are characters, just like your Otamendi's in Man City, that just get sent off all the time. You know they're going to get sent off at some point. They're hot-headed, not thinking straight. And people don't want to say that Romero wasn't a red card because he got the ball is bonkers, because they're the same people that were calling out Curtis Jones for doing exactly the same thing. So have a little think about what you're saying, because if Curtis Jones was a red card, so is that. And Curtis Jones didn't show the grimace in his face. Romero looked like he was trying to take out somebody that was trying to crack on with his daughter. And that not only is it a fellow professional, it's a fellow Argentinian, which is bonkers. You know, imagine if he broke his leg in that situation. What you're saying in training to all the boys for your best centre midfielders, mad. He needs to go and get some help. But, you know, if I want to be positive, I commend the boys. It showed that we're going to fight. You know, it's sad that we lost, but, you know, even though I had the banter about we're unbeaten and all that stuff, you know you're going to get beat. It's Tottenham, man. Like, we're not going to do an invincible season. We're always going to lose. And, you know, as much as I said 2-2, I just had a funny feeling about this game, you know. People that, if you're watching it, the people at work know full well, I weren't even gassing. Tottenham fans, I knew were gassing. I was just like, didn't want to talk about it because I had a funny feeling about today. I didn't think it'd be 4-1. Didn't think we'd go down to 9 men, but I just didn't feel too confident. But I said 2-2 to try and keep it a little bit positive. But we go to Wolves away next. I'm probably going to go and watch that game just around the corner from my yard. I commend the boys, but we've got to learn from that. You know, if we get to a stage where we're down to 10 men, 9 men, and just got to understand that pushing up, it's not rocket science. It's like pushing up from 60 minutes on. I commend the bravery. I love that, but that's the reason why we got 4-1 instead of potentially maybe looking at the result being a little bit more respectable, because, you know, everybody knows that didn't deserve to be a 4-1, but we was asking for a 4-1 by keep pushing up. So we move on to the next. What more can you say? You know what I mean? We were going to lose it, whether we deserve to or not, because going down to 9 men, It's all about individuals. So Romero, Adoji not so much because he's a young guy, but Romero, have a look at yourself because that's like the 4th red card. Like, either sort yourself out or get stripped to the captaincy. And I go as far as saying that just don't play because I can't be bothered with liabilities at Tottenham. You know, we're a liability as a club as it is. So we'll see how it goes for the weekend. Up the Spurs, 1 up top, man's going to bed. Ta-ta.